It was an exciting night on so many levels and for so many people. People that helped construct this place. It started off with an idea years ago, our Board of Trustees, and obviously Dr. Hawkins. And we had the first game that I've been to at Troy in 30 years where all the Board of Trustees were at the basketball game. But they had a place to come to see it. And they were responsible for that, Dr. Bookout and Sohill and Steve Dennis and so many. For this team to be able to experience winning the first game in this arena, I think is something those kids will never forget the rest of their lives. You can only do that one time. That was tonight. So it'll be a special memory for them, obviously, for all of us that were even at the game, the students, and I think our football team, I think Coach Blakeney brought the football team. Instead of seeing the movie, they went to come watch the game, which we appreciated them. And I also want to thank Mississippi State because they could have taken the way out. They got a new head coach, and we had a contract, but I've seen it over the years where when a guy gets a job and he's in control of his schedule, which you are at that level, you just pay the buyout cost and don't come play. Why would you play your first game as a coach on the road to help somebody open up an arena? But Mississippi State, their athletic director and their head coach, they're from old school, obviously, where a handshake means something. Too bad most of America's not that way anymore. But it was great that they had enough class to back up and to come here, because that made the game so much more attractive to have an SEC school to open up the arena, that I thought it made more people want to come. I met some guys last week, some farmers. They even came to a basketball game. This guy was I told you the other day, trying to teach me how to milk chickens. I didn't know anything about farming. They didn't know anything about basketball. So they were here tonight, and they were doing this. I said, what is that? He said, make sure 5 guys play defense. That's all they knew. So there were so many people that were happy tonight, got a good taste in their mouth, talking about the game tomorrow, that it was that part of it was, to me, enjoyable, is that so many people were a part of this thing tonight.
Coach, you've seen a million shots go up in the air towards the goal, but out there tonight when Emil put that last jumper up, did your heart stop for just a second?
Well, the first thing, I got to give Emil credit for coaching. We called a different play. Emil's from Mississippi, from Hattiesburg. He's dreamed about this, really, to be honest with you, since last spring. He's talked about it. And he's not one of these rah-rah type leaders. He's a very composed kid when he plays. He's a pressurized kid. He wasn't having a great game. I think he was shooting about 30%. And he pulled me on the side and said, Coach, I got to have it. And we said, scratch everything that we just said. Get the ball, and we'll freeze the ball out till about 4 or 5 seconds, put the ball in Emil's hands, let him take the last shot. And he made the last shot. It's those things that you hear people dream about, and they see it, and they over and over, and all of a sudden it happens to him. It happened to him tonight. And so that was a big-time shot. It'll be one of the bigger ones in this arena for a long time, I think.
Before he hit that shot, y'all got to travel calling the other end. I think it was Jeff that made the play
on
the ball.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit, because that was a huge play.
Well, this group, we haven't played defense, man-to-man defense. I told the people on the radio since before the Dead Sea got sick. I mean, it's been a long time since we played man defense. But we made a commitment this year to try to do that. This is not one of our most talented teams. This team will have to win on effort, which I think you saw that tonight. Saw that in the exhibition game against Alaska Anchorage. They'll dive on the floor. They'll pick up a charging foul. They'll out-hustle people. We had 2 of our guys foul out tonight on hustle, really. And so they made a commitment more than the coaches. They've committed to trying to put in as much effort as possible. So I have to take my hats off to them, because that play gave us the last shot. So the effort that they've put into defense all this time, they saw a big reward You know, like Coach Bryant used to say at Alabama, the sacrifice is big, but the reward is big. And I will always remember that. They've made a tremendous sacrifice, and they got them a big reward. Now, again, we have a lot of challenges first game, but I really do believe this is one of the closest knit groups of kids that I've ever been around. They're going to need it because they're not as talented. We don't have a good, strong, big inside game. They're going to need the togetherness. They're going to need the hustle. They're going to need everything to compete. But tonight gave them a taste of what you can get if you do all those things. And they're together not because of the coaches, I'll be honest. This is they're a unique group. I've never seen a group of kids every practice. Every kid tells another kid on the team something. And off the field, it's the same way. We had a meeting last night. It was ironic. And I hadn't been doing that in the last couple of years, but we decided to go back to some old things. We met last night, and we talked about, I told him, I said, I've been around a long time, but I have never seen a team this together. I said, Breon Dixon hasn't played this year. I said, but I think his attitude's great. He said, it is, Coach. I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It is hard to keep a good attitude when you don't get in the game. I'm just telling you. I know, because when I was at Southern Miss, I started as a freshman. My last 3 years, I was a practice player. That's the only time I played was at practice. And I was a pain in the neck for my coach. So when Breon Dixon told me that last night, I said, that's pretty special. Not even realizing he was going to have to save us tonight when our two guys fouled out of the game. So it's that type of thing that makes the team, and for them to get the reward. You know, a lot of times you do all this stuff and you don't get the reward. So it was really great to see it for this group of kids.
Y'all out-rebounded them by one.
We out-rebounded. Can you believe that?
And Lewis had 3 points. And you were worried about him coming in.
Yeah, well, you just look at him and you worry about him.
Yeah.
You know, he looked bigger than all 5 of our guys. You know, that was a farmer out there doing that. I'm thinking they all got to be on Lewis. But our kids played pretty smart. You know, you got to outwork people when people are bigger than you and better than you. And I thought our post guys, they got fouls called on them, but they bothered him all night long. They circled him. They got on one side. They got underneath him. They aggravated the heck out of him. But Lewis is a very talented kid, and they're a young team too. So we caught them at a good time also.
Coach, talk about the way you shot